All right, call the meeting to order at 9:18, and we'll stand for the pledge. Get the flag going, or find a flag. All right. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag
Flag.
of the United States of America
Okay.
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
One.
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Yeah, Tim, I just spoke to him. He'll join in a minute.
Perfect. Thank you.
No
All
problem.
right. Well, I hope everybody had a nice holiday break window, and Happy New Year to everybody. Looking forward to productive 2024 for the committee and everything else. We'll start with item number 2, the motion to approve the minutes from 12/22/23.
I'll second.
So I circulated, well, to the other one member for now, the draft, and prior to the break. Do you have, they looked fine on my end on the draft.
Yeah, I don't have any comments either. So I move to approve the minutes as written.
Great. Anybody else, any discussion on this before we take a vote on it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes unanimously. Item number 3 is going to be project updates. We'll start with the vestibules and roof, 3A. Do we have an update on that? Hopefully everybody's been steadily moving the ball down the field over the last week or two.
Okay, I'll give a quick update on the roof. Earlier this week, we got the letter from OSCGNR that forget the R, they dropped the R. They gave the commitment for the roof. So the next thing is to there's a couple of steps. It has to be approved by the building committee. The plans and specs have to be approved by the building committee. I'll get that from SPA and send that over. So next week you can approve that so that the SCG 042 form can be signed off. The Board of Ed is scheduled for the 25th to approve those plans. And in the meantime, I will be scheduling with the reviewer to have a plan review, a PCR on those plans so that we can get to bid approval and hand it over to Amar to put out the bid. So hopefully by the 1st of February, it's in Amar's hands. That would be
great.
my goal.
That's awesome. If we can target for that, that's great. Question for you, Sal, if you don't mind me jumping in. As it relates to the PCR for the roof, the checklist, I guess it's going to be prepared by Silva Petroselli, correct? And
Right. I have to. I just came. I've been off the past 3 days.
Yeah,
So I just came into my email that we got the approval on Tuesday. So after this meeting, I'll be reaching out to SPA, getting their architect to get ready. If he needs anything from you, I'll make sure that he reaches out to you. He knows the firm, he knows you, and we'll get everything, and I'll call up to the state and schedule and all that good stuff.
That's awesome. So does SBA have anything that they want to share in advance so we can just look at, kind of flip the pages so we can get a sense of the budget?
It's due to me early. I'm supposed to get it on Monday.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the spec writer to take her fingers off of the specs, and that's supposed to be over to me for Monday. I'm going to see if I can get it today and get that shared.
Okay. And
So-
that's
That's
CD.
100%, Sal?
Supposed to be 100%, yes.
So what
So-
day did you say you're going to the BOE?
25th. I believe
Sal, I
that's
spoke
the
with Dave Stein.
that's the next regular meeting.
I was gonna say, I know the next ones are all for the budget.
Correct. The 16th and 23rd are budget. The 9th is regular, but I've missed the cutoff for getting anything to there. I don't even have the plans in hand, so I can't go to the meeting on the 9th. So we're on the 25th.
And this is strictly for the roof, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's-
just the procedural part.
Awesome. Okay. So we'll work on that one. I can give a quick brief update on the vestibules. We received the
Before we
docs.
get before we get
sorry.
off the roof, Sal, I spoke with Dave. He's going to send it out to both myself and Amar when he sends it to you, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's fine.
Perfect. Okay to talk about vestibule, Mark?
Yep.
Okay. So the vestibule, we received the preliminary documents. I think they're more like I would call them schematics at this juncture from Jesse and our estimators almost in completion with their task. I got some preliminary information from them. So probably looking to publish the estimate sometime next week to the team to see where we are trending to the budget and whatnot. So I'll have that to you guys by mid next week, if that's okay, on the vestibule. As it relates to the expectation for the final design, I'll turn it over to maybe Jesse can give us an idea. The target's final design. I know we're targeting somewhere in our schedule, but just curious to hear it from Jesse.
That's still scheduled to be complete mid-January, so we're saying January 15th at this point.
100% of mid-January, 100%
Yep.
CDs. Okay.
I think we have a little bit of room to play with that date because, it all depends on the PCR date that Sal sets up and everything.
Yeah. So
Well,
it's gonna be mid.
Okay, the PCR is not for, just to jump in, it's Sal. The PCR is not for the security vestibule. The PCR is for the roof.
Okay, sorry, I thought there was a state meeting for the vestibules. My apologies if I
Yeah,
stated
no,
it
we don't even have an application in because we don't have the appropriate documents
Okay.
to submit to the state. Primarily
Oh,
Mars estimate. We can't go anywhere without the pricing being finalized and knowing that our financing matches. And so we don't have an application in yet.
Okay, sorry about that, Sal. It was
No,
just
no
being
no
a
problem.
procedure, not
No
knowing.
problem.
We're still targeting the 15th to finish everything on those.
Yeah, so if that's the case, we're gonna need to schedule a PCR in our schedule that I shared, that Tim shared with you, Sal, our preliminary schedule. We were targeting a PCR. I don't know if Mark, you probably have the same information. We were targeting like the end of the month for a PCR for the vestibule, just as a target for you guys. I don't know what you have,
Yeah,
Mark,
it's-
on your schedule for that. So we just have to kind of
Early
keep-
February.
Did
I'm
we
sorry?
see that schedule, guys? Committee?
We detailed the schedule. We kicked it off to Sal to review. It's still in the draft form. So hopefully we're meeting with Sal on Monday to kind of go over if he has any questions or issues as it relates to the way we're actually approaching it. Then we're going to turn it over to you guys shortly thereafter. We're still in a very draft mode with it.
Okay, so
To be honest with guys, I mean, I would like to see the draft as well.
That's Sal. It's totally up to you. I can flip it. I can flip
you
over.
you can I'm wide open to sharing
Yeah,
sharing that
absolutely.
with the building committee. Yes, don't hold it up because of me.
No,
I got that
like I
as I
said, we
walked out
finished
the
it.
door. I haven't opened it up yet. So
Yeah, we finished it last Thursday, I think, or so. We sent it over, and yeah, absolutely, Rodney, not a problem. I'll flip it over to this entire group today. Just understand it's still in a draft mode, but just based on
Yeah.
basically our schedule is detailing everything, all of the pre-construction activities, all those design deliverables, the estimating, all of the GMP approvals, and then goes directly into construction and all the phases. Okay, so I'll flip that over to you guys. Tim, actually, I'll have Tim is on. Did he get on, or is he still?
Yeah, so,
Yeah, I'm here.
so if you could send that, yeah, please do.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
Rodney,
Tim.
if you've got anything on
We'll
that,
send it
just
out.
reach
We'll
out.
send it out today, David. I'll get it out
Thank
to you
you.
all today.
Yep,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then, and then Rodney, if you have anything on that, just email them directly on it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
Absolutely.
without me on copy, so it doesn't get into any FOIA issues, but you can, as a working
No
item.
problem. We welcome
no,
the
I
feedback.
understand.
You can reach them direct, yeah. But
and
I trust
going,
you on
going
having your
forward,
perspective.
David, with your permission, I'd like to request that, we get things when Sal gets things so we can take a look at them prior to these meetings.
Absolutely.
If,
We're not looking
if
for
that's
any.
okay.
This is not for approval. This is more for review. So absolutely, yeah. We gave it to Sal to share some, as far as how it's going to be phased, the building phases, if you will, and which areas we're going to be at. And yeah, absolutely, we'll share that whole thing with you guys. Not a problem.
Yeah,
Give us-
because I think we've it's come up a couple of times just on the timeline on getting some of the things, and
Yeah.
and here's the thing, right? So we're by design, it's a small committee that is and I think it's really trying to just keep things moving, and I think I don't think there's you're not going to get 5,000 interventions or questions on things, but
Mhm.
in the case of probably Rodney more than me on some of this more technical and sort of walking through that, I think it's really he's here for that helpful perspective.
Oh, no,
So
I welcome it.
I'd rather us all just we've tried to work as a big broad sort of team. I'd rather everyone sort of I'm a big tent kind of guy on this stuff. I think we get a better result that way. So if you could just try and do that, and then that'll also avoid tripping up on, some of this stuff coming out the day before things and not having time to view because it's
Yeah.
already at least in an earlier version. And hey, we made some adjustments, and
Yeah.
keeps everybody visible. So I know everyone's done a good job with that. If we could just keep
Yep.
that going.
No problem.
Excellent. Thank you.
So just my question on the vestibule piece, less similar to what was discussed on the roof, but on the vestibule specifically with the way that the bidding and everything is it's going to be handled with this. We talked about a very, very tight timeline, and that there were a number of things that still were going to take some time to accomplish in order to ultimately really get you, Amar, what you needed to then have that out there, I guess, with purchasing, but to have that out there and be able to work through it. Are we moving on that pace? Is there anything that we need to be doing at this point, or anybody
Yes.
needs to be doing, or any assistance that's needed
Yeah.
to ensure that happens? Because I believe, even particularly with the way these things come in from a pricing perspective, it really
Yeah.
has to be a part of that bigger piece.
So there's two critical pieces. I was going to bring them up anyways today, and we've been talking about them. The hazmat, we need that like 3 weeks ago, but I need it badly. Okay, the hazmat study or the reports. That the schedule that I'm going to share, that we developed, we don't know where the hazmat material is, so we're making assumptions. And that's why I said it's a very early draft form. The other part that's impacting is I'm developing bid packages right now, my bid forms, and I don't know. I need that information in order to develop my demo package. So that's a big piece that we need. Like literally, we've been asking for it, and I know people are working on it, but I've got nothing.
Jesse,
So,
when do we expect that?
Last I talked to George from Woodard and Curran, they're finishing up everything this week on site, and he expected about 2 weeks to get a report after that.
Jesus, they're not even finished on site?
So that puts us out. That could be what, the 19th, which I'm sure on the 19th, we're going to hear the 23rd.
Yeah, the earliest, the
And-
earliest
and
it's
that's
going
a-
to be is,
Mar,
And that's a problem because
What's the matter, Tim?
no, I mean, does any type of like preliminary reporting
Well,
help
I've
us
been
there?
asking for preliminaries, yes, but let's hear, guys, the schedule that I shared, that I'm gonna share with you, shows us going out to bid on the 17th, which we've been targeting mid-January all along, so
Yep.
that's gonna throw a monkey wrench in this issue.
well, you were gonna go out to bid and then you were gonna add this piece a few weeks
I need-
afterwards,
no,
right?
no.
Ideally, it needs to be before Sylvan goes
Well,
out. to
it
bid.
needs, because my schedule, I need to publish a schedule, I need to tell the bidders how to approach, is there gonna be hazmat, is it? My schedule all predicates on this piece.
And it's
Because
the
I
first piece.
need, it gets very messy if I issue something and then the hazmat report comes out, which tells me something different. And I have to revamp the entire schedule in a very tight timeline of bidding. It gets messy. That's the
Yeah,
only
no,
thing.
I get that. Yep.
So that's one piece. We need to really put our arms around it. I mean, I'd rather not go out to bid without it, and I need time. Whenever that report comes out, I need time to review it, integrate it with the documents, so it's not like an instantaneous, like, here it is, go. I need time, I need a few days to go through it and how we're gonna integrate it within our proposal form, our schedule. There's a little bit of work needs to be done. And we've been asking, is there anything they can give us preliminary? Can we talk to them? Is there anything we can set up this week, guys, or next week, sorry?
Yeah, let me talk to George. I'm sure he'd be happy to talk with you. I had a brief conversation with him on Tuesday of this week, and my understanding was they found nothing asbestos related. The PCBs are interesting because they don't want to test for them because that opens up a whole can of worms you don't want to. So you just deal with like the duct penetrations and stuff like that where there could be an issue, because then you can keep it to those specific areas and not have a big issue with the building. Like, I wasn't involved, but like the Osborne Hill gym, I think, had an issue like that. Was that the one, Sal? They had to take the whole roof off or the whole something like that, or walls or
The
something?
gymnasium, yeah, and Woodard and Curran is aware of that.
Yep, no, and he was explaining it that way. That the PCBs are very different in how you have to address them. So they're doing that, and like I said, their last on-site stuff was this week. They've spent the last 3 weeks, they were on site each of those 3 weeks, multiple times, and so that's finishing up. And I'll talk to him again after this, and we'll see if we can have a conversation, a report, whatever is going to help you, Amar. I think a conversation.
No, we
might-
appreciate it, guys. I appreciate all everybody's efforts. Go ahead, Sal, sorry.
My suggestion, Jesse, is to get a meeting set up, a Teams meeting set up with George, with the data that he has, and we can strategize on how, if the report can't be finalized, at least how we can safely bid and the items so that we're covered correctly. There might be certain materials we just have to assume as dispose as, and we can clarify that later.
Yeah.
So
if we can-
I mean, there's not too many moving parts here. So
Agreed.
got to do the due diligence, and we got to it late. And,
Agreed,
it's
Sal.
running uphill in quicksand. I understand, but
Yeah, it complicates it, because I don't want to issue something that's half baked and then have to clarify it. It just becomes very messy bidding procedures, and I try to eliminate that as much as possible. Okay, so that's one item. Item number 2, our contract, guys. It's been out there on the town side since November 22nd. And I know there's been communications, but I need this contract back. I need it to, because I have a lot of work to do after the contract is executed to kind of translate into documents, and I just need to, I know Mark have been taking the lead on that, but I don't know where it stands. I know it's with the town attorney, but I need somebody to push a little bit harder to get this thing back to us because I gotta sign it and then I gotta send it back to the town to execute it as well. So I really need this thing behind us by next meeting, if possible, please.
I'll be in
No,
town
you-
hall this afternoon. I'll go talk to Adam.
Please.
Yep.
Okay.
You
Thank
need
you.
this thing executed before you go out to bid.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
I need it fully. I'm trying to target next week to get us to sign it and hopefully get the town to sign it so I can put this thing aside. I absolutely need it way before we go out to bid, actually.
Right.
Okay.
So you guys are gonna try and sort some of this out this afternoon. If it turns into Monday morning, fine. If you could please get back, if you could please get back and update, at least update me and I can disseminate it downward, to Rodney, as well.
Yeah.
So you get updates where things are at, and keep me posted. And if there's anything that we need to do to, on our end on the committee or myself or anything to try to, I think you guys have it handled, but if there's anything that can assist in
Yeah.
coordinating or pushing it along, please make sure that, I'm aware of it. And
Yeah.
I would expect by like mid-morning Monday, at least an update as to where you guys are moving on this. So obviously this is a top priority.
Yeah, no, we'll copy on the email. I think there is emails exchanges as it relates to the contract. I think we'll copy Rodney and you, so that way, you
Yeah.
guys are aware of the traffic.
Yeah, one way
please.
things down, not a lot of back and forth is okay. If it's gonna start to
Nope.
have chatter, then you gotta
Nope.
just either don't put anyone or you can just put me as chair, but I always make sure if there's something like that to kick it out to Rodney, so he's
No, I'll let Mark handle those communications as it relates to
Yeah.
the contract. We'll send the schedule, like I said early. Once we wrap up this meeting, we'll send the schedule on
Yep.
the phasing, but keep in mind it is preliminary and draft because we're
Hey,
making
look.
assumptions. Okay.
Fine with that piece. It's the hazmat piece. I want to make sure, that
Yes.
I want you to be able to go out to bid as you need to, and if there's things you're gonna add on, like the vestibule piece, that's fine, but if this hazmat piece has to be sorted, then, they need to figure this out. I don't care how many, care, but
I agree.
mind how many
Thank you.
hours they have to put in and whatever to make it happen, but they gotta deliver it, so.
Thank you.
All right, so that's hazmat piece, the vestibule piece. I just want to make sure specifically on that we're also that part is on track. That was kind
Well,
of where my question started, and
Yeah.
it kind of veered
Well,
off to the broader, but
Right, we need to huddle on this because Amar's on an aggressive schedule that's, he's putting us in for a PCR and we don't even have an application in it. I've said that. So, there's a process to it. I'm not seeing it as fast as Amar has it on his preliminary schedule. I see the work as 2025 work, on top of it all. I don't see it as a summer 24 work. So, we need to have a huddle, Colliers, FPS, Gilbane, and BL, and we need to have another huddle so that we're running the same play. It's not too far off because there's not too much work there, but we have some talking to do because we're just getting the documents. So
Yeah.
there's only so much magic that so many rabbits you can pull out of a hat.
Exactly. I'm
Totally.
trying to, yeah, exactly. So absolutely, yes. So let's talk about that one. Whether we can do a sidebar after, I'm totally cool with that. And I know there's a meeting this afternoon with the building officials, but we can talk after this meeting if you guys want to stick around on this meeting, if that works for you.
Yeah, or we can throw out a Teams meeting.
yeah,
let's
why don't you guys spin something up afterwards? And
Yeah.
again, same deal, just keep us
Yep.
updated in the interim as to where you guys
Yep.
are falling on this. I think um, from my perspective, one of the concerns was the financial piece. So if you don't make some of these timelines, or you don't for this packet, or even an addendum to it, and you don't end up in say 24, you end 25, those are just some things that all could start to compound on the cost side. And I'm a little concerned about going out. I'm trying to avoid us having to ask for more money. So, and that's a tall order to begin with. And then I'm trying to limit what that would look like.
Yep.
Right. So,
Yeah,
those are
so
things that we've talked about here.
yeah, our first step is we need a Mars estimate
Right.
so that we can make sure that we don't have that problem or how to remedy that
And
if
that's
that's
next
the
week.
issue.
That'll be next week.
Okay.
And I think there's a lot of latitude in the roof budgeting too. So there's different moving parts. So yeah, a meeting right now on the side of
Yeah.
the design construction team would be useful.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, so we'll set up a meeting aside, so we'll have a
Yep.
work session with the group. That's easy.
You guys work on that. Thank you. Anybody else have anything on the vestibules, roof, hazmat?
Well, it
Okay.
kind of falls in with the HVAC project. Amar mentioned that we're meeting with the AHJs this afternoon to do a page flip. We're also meeting with the principals next week of each of the schools to go over the HVAC, the phasing of it, and all that. It'll include the vestibules also, but I'll send you an invite, Dave, just if you want to sit in on them, or if you can't, and Rodney wants to. But yeah, it's 3 successive days next week that we're meeting with the principals.
Okay. You're meeting with them, what, on, is
Wednesday,
that's
Thursday, Friday.
on site, walking through the buildings?
Yep.
Or, got it, okay. If,
Yes,
yeah,
Mark, just send an invite. My week is pretty jammed, but depending on when you decide to do it, I might be able to attend one or two of them.
okay. If we both decide to go, we have to publish it.
Yeah.
We
Oh.
can talk about that with central office for now, but Rodney, if you're going, then I got a crazy week too, so, we could talk about that
We'll talk offline. Yeah.
and figure out if we want, and if we decide both to go, then we can always notice it and handle that, so.
Just when are we getting our next or fill in? Not fill in,
Oh.
but new
Yeah,
member.
I'm just gonna bring that up at the end.
Okay,
But,
sorry.
no, I'll answer it now, just so you have it. He gets voted in on the by the RTM, barring any issues. Committees is on the 16th, and a vote is on the 22nd, which means he'll make the 26th as long as he gets voted in and then gets sworn in. So
Okay.
2 more meetings without, and then we'll have somebody. I spoke with the individual who's currently being nominated. Went to the BOS and gave him some updates and things. I owe him some document, all public, but document, stuff to just kind of point him in the direction to keep doing his homework. So the goal will be to be up to speed as much as he can. And my guess will be that week, he gets sworn in on the 20, or he gets voted in, that I might ask him to talk to like 1 or 2 of you guys on the staff or consultant side, just to bring him even further, and send him a document dump of stuff, so he's got it prior, do his little extra homework once he's official.
Just
so.
if you speak to him next time, tell him there's a quiz on the 26th.
Oh, come on, don't you want to be a pop quiz?
Okay, we can do a
He
pop
was
quiz.
cramming for all week with fresh information. So, trial by fire.
Yeah, definitely.
So, So that's it there. Yeah, anything else on the AC project front? I know we touched on it a little bit earlier with some of the other moving pieces. Otherwise, sounds like we're in okay shape and you're meeting with the town and that's good. So if nothing else on that, we're gonna go to item number 4, approvals. So we've got
Truly only 2 invoices, one from BL. I just
Yeah.
broke it out to the individual schools.
yeah, thank you for I was gonna say I thought it was 2, but that makes sense.
And then Gilbane's is for the schematic design estimate and part of pre-con for the on their pre-con contract. Basically, total is 81,214 and 25 cents.
Mark, can you just scroll down to Gilbane's invoice for a second?
Yep.
Scroll all the way down. Your total there of 105,700. Is that the total cost for pre-con services and schematic services?
Yes. Per
Okay.
their RFP response, they had 39,200 for the schematic design estimate, and then the balance
Oh,
of
there
their
it is.
pre-con services was 66,500.
Okay.
Rodney, the only point of clarification, this is only for the HVAC pre-con. It does not include the vestibule and or the roof.
That was my next question.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay, you did HVAC upgrades. Okay, so we'll make that distinction on your invoices, correct?
Yes. Well, they got to be built. Well,
We did.
they got to be separated as far as it can probably be on the same invoice. It just has to be separate because I got to track them as separate projects.
It's got to be
Look at
broken
the
out. You can
separate-
put it on whatever
Yeah,
you
it-
want.
Yeah, I mean, it could be the same invoice as long as
Yeah.
it's broken out.
Right.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't.
I mean, he
no problem.
notated on there, right, notate HVAC, and then you've got the breakout of the schools attached. I don't know who did that work, but
Yeah,
how you're
this
gonna break it.
this is just how I build it. And I
Yeah.
said for
It's
CN
fine.
services, for pre-con, I said a third.
Okay. That's fine. And then I think we're still on the Gilbane, not officially signed, which I'm still, I thought that we were. So, I will also, after we approve this, nudge on just trying to get this. So,
That's okay.
we're gonna get this sorted. So,
I'm sure.
so, then I think we're gonna approve this, knowing that technically they have got all sorts of things, including a BOS approval on the moving forward and everything, and there's still some little technicality things that we need to clean up, but we're gonna approve it so that the second that the thing gets signed, they're already approved and sitting in the queue, and they can start getting money out the door. And we
Okay.
appreciate Gilbane's, sort of, just working through all of that.
No, we understand. No worries.
We'll get there, and
Yeah.
so thank you.
Yep.
Get a motion to approve the 2 invoices split over well, various lines.
I'll make the motion to approve BL Company's invoices for Osborne, North Stratford, and Woods, and Gilbane's invoice with the stipulation that it will be held until the contract is signed
Perfect.
and executed. Sorry.
And I'll second that. Thank you. Good better wording there. I will second that. So do we have any other discussion on this? I don't
None.
think we have any public or anything, but anybody else? Okay, we'll call for a vote then on this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. And, all right, so we have, the next item is gonna be, item number 5, new business. And, I'll ask if we have any new business. I believe we have an item that we do want to discuss, related to, am I making, Sal, or Angelos, which school, or Mark? I'm drawing a blank here. Or Stratfield? Somebody?
Yes, you're talking
North
about
Stratford.
North Stratford, what we spoke about yesterday with the controls.
Correct. I'm gonna make a motion. It'll require 2/3 votes, so it'll require the both of us, but I want to add this item specifically onto the agenda. So I'd like to make a motion that we add an item to the agenda under new business to discuss and possibly vote on addressing the North Stratfield HVAC controls.
I'll second.
All right, we have a second on that. Do we have any discussion on adding this onto the agenda? Okay, we'll
No.
require 2/3 vote, which would be unanimous in this situation. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. All right, so we are going to discuss, and there may then be another motion to actually vote on something, but we're going to discuss this now. So, Angelos, if you could kick that off, please. I was notified yesterday on this issue. It's kind of happening pretty rapidly. So go ahead.
Sure, I'll just give you guys a brief overview of what we're asking you guys to do, and then you guys can take it from there. Real quick, so we continue to have problems with the controls up at the HVAC controls and heating controls up at North Stratfield. Yesterday, I reached out to Mr. Becker because we had pretty much had a failure yesterday, but throughout the night and this morning, we were able to get this resolved to a point where we are comfortable now moving forwards. But what we're going to ask the building committee to do is that when you do go out to bid with your packages, maybe you expedite the controls part at North Stratfield so that maybe that gets started sooner than the rest of the project moving forward, so that we can start to get better control over that building as you guys move through the project, and then it'll grow as you guys move, but at least get the preliminary part of that started. I know, Omar, this is kind of a surprise to you as it kind of just unfolded last night in our lap, but it's something we'd like to ask the committee and your team to kind of expedite the essential controls of the building and then move forwards. And I think, like I said, I don't think it's something we have to pull out of the bid package, but maybe it's something we can move up on the schedule of the bid when it is on there.
So if I could, and then yeah, if Amar wants to maybe jump in afterwards, and I'm sure Rodney will have some questions. But from my perspective, and you know, I'm okay with, unless you really don't want it, I'm okay to some extent, either this week or next, but giving you sort of the latitude of an approval that allows you that if your sort of repair option fails tomorrow, you can move forward and it's through this. I want you to have the tools in your toolkit because we're in winter time. So if you have a control issue, I want you making the right, you know, we're going to be going to this building and we're going to want to use, you know, we're going to want this all to be done right. And as part of this project, it wouldn't make sense for you to go do something under your existing budget or anything when we're going there anyways. And so I just, you know, if something happens again on this, sounds like it's under control, but anything that's a repair temporary after what occurred, can rapidly unfold the
is.
other way. So
It is under control. We're happy with the fact that we can fail it. We can fail the system to create heat in the building, as opposed to the opposite of having the system fail and have no heat in the building. So we're comfortable that we're not going to affect the school activities at this point, but it's something we would like to get expedited once you guys start moving.
Jesse, what are the ramifications of expediting this package with your design? And what's existing there now?
I don't think, I think expediting it probably is fairly easy, especially with the essential controls, which I'm assuming includes the boilers and the heating piece of it. So that's always been part of the scope and is in the scope of work. So it's like if you, and I'm just thinking out loud here, but if you bid it normally and you just had this, Amar has the stipulation that the work there starts immediately on the controls. So you can put it in for the heating system and then just do everything else as it needs to be done or as installed over the next year and a half type of thing. It sounds pretty straightforward to do that, but Amar, I see, has his hand up.
Yeah, so I guess I understand the pneumatics, and Sal, probably you can jump into. So you have the pneumatics that failed, which really controlled all your hydronics throughout the building. Are there any of the existing controls pertain to the existing rooftop units that also have to be? The concern that I have is that, Jesse, you're not addressing the existing, if there's any controls on the existing rooftop units.
That was my
That's
concern as well.
separate?
Yeah, no, I thought of that, and I would need Angelus to kind of get into a little more details of exactly what failed and what's not working and what is working.
Yeah, we're working to get all that together and
Okay. And also the other piece of it is, yes, we can have the mechanical contractor, the controls contractor march along the building, try to kind of take out the old, put the new. We're going to be obviously throughout the entire building trying to get through it instead of doing it in 2 phases. So that I'm not sure, where the new T-stats are going to land, how they're going to get fed above the ceiling. So it's a little bit of out of sequence work in per se in some areas. I just have to study it a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, as long as the controls package that we're going to bid out has no significant lead time and, all the stuff is readily available, the approval gets through quickly on the design team side, then we should be able to get through this summer, try to do as much as we can with it and just continue doing that and push hard on getting the controls done and turned over. That's how I'm envisioning it, Jesse. The other piece of it is, I guess we'll power the panel, the control. I don't know how many control panels you have. I think you have just one, right? For each school, I'm assuming. How do you have off the top of your head? That becomes electrical.
Yeah, no, there'd be more areas that need electrical because even if you don't have panels, you need electrical out in the school, but you can't run 24 volt across the whole school because of the voltage drop. So,
Right.
yes, you do need that, but it's 120 and it's not a lot of power.
Is
So
your
yeah,
drawing
yes,
showing it's being fed off of the existing circuitry?
we don't.
Panels?
I actually don't know how it's shown. It may be covered with notes. It often is.
Yeah, just be careful, but it's going to have to be fed off the existing power because the new power is not going to happen till
It's
later.
not going to.
So that's kind of keep in mind of that as those panels, as I go march along, I got to power them off the existing circuits, which not a huge problem, but something to make sure that it's covered on your documents.
Yeah, it's a small detail and we can figure that out at any point. I think.
Okay. So yeah, there's a little bit of jockeying, call it, to kind of make this thing work. But we need to just make sure that, ultimately we can bid it and expedite that part, and we'll just work with the team to make sure that things get done as expeditiously as possible. But the design is pretty much done already for the package.
Yeah, and I think just thinking out loud for their problem and less about our documents, I mean, any existing equipment that may have problems working, there's rooftop units over in the media center. I think you could easily use some type of local control to deal with those. Same thing, there's units that do the gym and the media center, the gym, the media center, and the cafeteria. So those are the only ones that are not the boiler and hot water system. So it's, there should be a way that's not overly expensive to get those systems to limp through if you need
And
to.
what I can do, Jesse, like I said, what I can do quickly, I can just throw an allowance in the package for those one-odd units that I have to send them up there to kind of modify the controls or make it local control on those units. I'll just throw a $35,000 allowance to deal with those locations if necessary. If we don't want to deal with kind of designing it now, we're out of time and not modifying the drawings, we can do that.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
associates are okay with that.
yeah, and let's just wait for Sal and Angela's to let us know the details of what
Yeah.
is and isn't working, and then we can go further from there. But I don't think expediting this is too much of an issue. There's details to work out, but it's all smaller details.
Right.
Very good. We appreciate that.
No worries.
Okay. So you're comfortable for now with where things are at, Angeles, and their take on handling it, and we're not going to do any voting or anything right now, and we're comfortable?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Any other discussion on this item for now? Rodney, anything?
No, I think next week we'll be telling. Once I get all the information.
Perfect. Okay. Do we have any other new business items?
No.
Anything else? All right. So we'll plan to meet next week, and we'll as of now we'll plan for WebEx again. If something changes with that, then we'll make sure everybody knows, and make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned at 10:06. Thank you, everybody.
Next weekend, everybody.
Thank you.
Jesse,